Good afternoon to you. Thank you for staying with TV3. This is Midday Live, coming to you from our studio here at Adisa Way in Accra. I am Martin Asiedu Date. Coming up for the next 1 hour. More New Patriotic Party flag bearer aspirants are filing their nominations. We will bring you the very latest in a jiffy from the party headquarters. And later in business, senior lecturer at the Gimpo Business School, Dr. Ebenezer Abugri Anafo, says the president has been selective in his bias against the international rating agencies, saying they are being reckless. And on the international front, we know that Nigerian President Bola Tinubu has removed security chiefs in a major reshuffle. My name is Martin Asiedu Date. Let's settle for the details. We are going heavy on politics as of this very moment. It's going straight to the party head office where the New Patriotic Party flag bearer hopeful Kwabena Agyapong is promising to reduce the government size if he is given the nod to be flag bearer of the New Patriotic Party and subsequently become the president of Ghana. He further says he will put drastic penalty regimes in place to make crime unattractive to potential offenders. He said this when he filed his nomination at the NPP flag bearer for the NPP flag bearer position at the party headquarters.
So what is your agenda for the party as well as Ghanaians when you, in case you win as flag bearer?
First and foremost, I think we have an onerous duty as a country to reorient ourselves, to recalibrate our values, okay? And I want to lead a lean government machinery, effective, efficient, that delivers to the satisfaction of the Ghanaian people. And also to impose law, order, and discipline, and goes with a drastic penalty regime to make it unattractive for potential offenders. You have the political will to take the difficult decisions that the country needs to be able to move forward. And that's why I'm here. We need a new dawn. We've had 16 years the leadership of President Akufo-Addo and his vice Bawumia. 16 years, a very long time. And I think the party and the country deserves a new dawn, a new dimension, a new direction, with new energies, a new face that would be able to reconnect with the Ghanaian people and restore the confidence that Ghanaians have in constitutional democracy. That is what I represent. And I'm a very multi-layered individual, trained in the ethos of this political tradition right from 1992. I've worked with all the leaders of our party, Dubois, President Kufuor, and now President Akufo-Addo. Worked closely with them in various stages of my career. And as a civil engineer, I've worked in the public service, in the private sector as an engineering consultant.
All right, so that is Kwabena Agyapong, I should say, who has just filed his nomination in that interaction with Judith Awotritando, who is still at the NPP party headquarters. Let's interact with her and find out what's been going on. Judith, good afternoon to you. Thank you for joining us. We can see at the background some persons who are quite jubilant. Paint a picture for us. What's going on there?
And so, Martin, currently, the atmosphere here is very much charged. You can see that some supporters of Kennedy Agyapong have been chanting since they arrived, because the crowd, of course, the crowd is not compared to what was here during the Vice President Bawumia's coming, but of course his support base is here, and they are still charging in anticipation of his arrival. He won't be arriving at 1 p.m. today, and so we are still waiting for his arrival. Of course, Kwabena Agyapong has still been speaking. He's been speaking earlier at 10 this morning, and so basically he was pushing for the agenda of a new dawn. And for instance, in his speech, he made some comments about the direction of the country. Now, according to him, he's troubled about the direction of the country currently, and then he says that we must accept where we are now and where we want to be. And so he's asking Ghanaians not to mislead ourselves with excitable slogans. Now, this was directed to political leaders. He's asking that they shouldn't mislead themselves with excitable slogans that lead us nowhere. And so he's saying that Ghana is at a crossroads and needs a new dawn. So these were some of his comments. But of course, just a brief on his contribution in the political space. And we know that he contested in 2007, and this is the second time that he's contesting for the flag bearership position. Now, he was previously the general secretary of the party, and he was suspended as both the general secretary as well as a member. And he's been cleared and reinstated as a member of the party. And he's now contesting for the 2024 flag bearership race. So that's what is currently happening here. That were some of his statements he made earlier in his speech here at the NPP headquarters. Martin.
Right. And Judith, we also know that Kwabena Agyapong has filed. We are expecting Kenny Agyapong. Who else is expected to file today, if you know?
So we're expecting two other flag bearer hopefuls. That is Kennedy Agyapong, yes, which has already been mentioned. And this will be his first time contesting for the flag bearership position. He's been a member of parliament since 2005, that we know. And we also expect Kojo Poku at 3 p.m. today. Now, while he's not quite known in the political space, he's known much or mainly as a businessman and an energy analyst. And so we're yet to see how his arrival will pan out here at the NPP headquarters. But currently, as I said, the atmosphere is very much charged. You can hear some of the supporters of Kennedy Agyapong.
All right, Judith, thank you very much for that report from the NPP party headquarters. Certainly, as your election command center, we'll let you know any and every development in the political space when it becomes available. Judith Awachithanda there from the NPP party headquarters. Staying with the NPP, though, let's go to the other side of the conversation, or the divide, where the Vice President, Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia, has been busy since submitting his forms to contest the flag bearer position of the New Patriotic Party. My colleague Noble Crosby Annan has been following the Vice President today, who has been on a campaign tour of the Greater Accra region, and he's joined us via Zoom. But even before we go to him, we know that the Vice President has been quite busy since he submitted. He's been to almost 6 or 7, probably almost 10 different constituencies, all in a bid to make sure that he gets the buy-in and the support of party delegates, because we know that he's in a very keenly contested flag bearer contest with the likes of Alan Kyerematen, Kenny Agyapong, Kwabena Agyapong, and several others who are yet to file their nomination. So today, he's been speaking. My colleague Crosby Annan has been following the Vice President, who we are told is expected at the Adentan constituency specifically. Crosby, good afternoon, if you can hear me. First of all, give us an idea, which specific area is this, and what's the area looking like? What's the euphoria like ahead of the Vice President's arrival?
So, Martin, if you can hear me, what you see is the Christ Apostolic Church International at the Adentan constituency. Now, this is where the Vice President is taking his campaign tour in the Greater Accra region. I must tell you that it's been a very, very wet morning here in the capital, Accra, particularly in this constituency. It has rained heavily with roads flooded and all of that. But the room you see, the church auditorium, is packed to the full with supporters and delegates of the NPP, particularly supporters of the Vice President, Dr. Bawumia. Already we've seen some party executives arriving already. We've seen the Deputy CEO of the Youth Authority, Official Member seated. We've seen Dennis Miracles and Waji, also of the NPP, also seated them, as well as some other constituency executives of the party already seated in this auditorium where the Vice President will be engaging the constituents when he comes. So it promises to be very busy, and it's an absolute festival in there. It's been very noisy, so we've had to come out to tell our viewers the story. So you check the round, and then you see a lot of traffic building up. This showed, although there may be some traffic situation, but it was not as worse as it is now. Coupled with the rain and with the arrival of the Vice President, you see there's a lot of traffic built up on the road. The church auditorium is packed, like I said, and that is how the place is looking like. So the Vice President, Martin, has switched into a full campaign mood, and he did that right after submitting his nomination forms in person at the NPP headquarters. So he went into the campaign here, and then already he has visited Segei, he has visited Adara and Katamanso and the Ashaman constituencies, and then he interacted with the party delegates there. And then one characteristic of such visit of the Vice President, Martin, if you can hear me, is the show of support to the Vice President. People, all supporters of his, follow him wherever he's going, and then they show him massive support. Martin, just yesterday, the 20th of June 2020, the Vice President visited all the constituencies in the Ablekuma enclave. So he visited the Ablekuma North, the Ablekuma South, Ablekuma East, and then Ablekuma Central, I beg your pardon, and then the Ablekuma West constituencies, all in the Greater Accra region. And then today already, the Vice President has visited the Dodowa constituency. Now he's heading back into the Adentan constituency, where he'll be engaging the supporters in this auditorium. After that, the Vice President would head towards the Madina constituency and then also engage supporters of his at the venue where the Vice President will meet the delegates and the supporters of this. Key amongst the conversations the Vice President is having is that he is the only person in the NPP that the opposition, the NDC, and their flag bearer, John Dramani Mahama, is scared of, to put bluntly. That is what the Vice President is saying, that he will be the one to scare John Dramani Mahama into the 2024 elections. And that whoever the NPP votes for, if they do not vote for him and they vote for somebody else, it would be an easy game for the NDC and its leader, John Dramani Mahama, going into the 2024 elections. Although there are some concerns about the economy, when the Vice President addresses the supporters that he meets, the Vice President is quick to say that it is based on two issues. We're talking about the COVID pandemic, the outbreak of COVID-19 in the world, and then the rippling effects of the Russian and Ukraine war. So he says these are the reasons why the economy crumbled and that they're trying to rebuild. The Vice President says that whatever happens, he is building on the legacy, on the achievements of the President, Nana Akufo-Addo.
Right. Noble Crosby, and thank you very much for that comprehensive report. He is on the campaign trail of the Vice President of the Republic, Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia, who has begun his Greater Accra regional tour. He started that immediately. He submitted his forms, and we know from our sources within government that he's likely to continue to complete all the constituencies in the Greater Accra region before moving on to some other region. So we'll definitely be updating you as your election command center here on TV3 and on all our other platforms. Just to watch Midday Live, let's go on to some other stories. Now, the minority in Parliament is predicting further hardship for Ghanaians under the IMF program as it accuses the Finance Minister, Ken Ofori-Atta, of failing to tell Ghanaians the conditions of the bailout. The ranking member of the Finance Committee, Isaac Adongo, addressed the media in Parliament.
Government officials took turns to declare that they would never go to the IMF. They were so impervious to good counsel and common sense from the NDC, academia, and civil society. The government only eventually went to the IMF after things had gone out of hand, and so bad that they could no longer hide anything as their diabolic or their diabetic economy exposed them with a heavy stench. You know, when you are smelling, you can't hide it. Their diabetic economy was now so smelling, so they had no way, they can't hide. And I want to say it now. I've said it several times. You didn't believe me. Ghana did not meet the condition precedent to approval. The major condition precedent was for us to secure financing assurances from our creditors. We didn't have one. A committee was simply set up by the bilateral donors at the Paris Club to look into our matter. And they announced that, oh, we have constituted a committee. China is co-chairing with which country? Then they somersaulted to say that that means financing assurance. Is that not the case? 3 days ago, didn't he say that by September they will get financing assurances? So now, financing assurances, that was a condition precedent, is now a condition subsequent. So why is Zambia still queuing? Why is Pakistan, Sri Lanka still queuing? Why are they not approving for them as a condition subsequent? We build the biggest capacity data center to ensure that the Ghana.gov project, which was to computerize government service, had a place for data safety and for data storage. Without these infrastructure, you can only dream about digitalization, Bawumia. then you just appeared. Now economy has shaped you, you move to Yahoo, you say you are doing digitalization. He should come and he should tell us his track record in building infrastructure for digitalization. One, I want you people to tell him that the days when we didn't know him and we gave him the benefit of the doubt is long gone. He has a record. And anytime he is ready, wake me up from sleep. He can choose his own venue. He can choose his own moderator. In fact, he can come with his books for reference. But just wake me up from sleep and say, Baumia say he wants to debate his vision and his knowledge about the economy and digitalization, and I'll meet him. We will respond to him for every unguided and lying statements he would make. If MPP decide to choose him as flag bearer, that's their problem. But he must be factual. He must not take the people of Ghana for granted.
All right, so definitely the conversation about the economy will continue way into the 2024 elections, and we'll all keep you posted in the loop of the conversation as it wears on. Let's take a quick trip to the Ashanti region now, because water production in the Ashanti region is currently under serious threat as illegal miners inch closer to the Barekese water production plant. In the case of the Owabi Dam, management fears that a future shutdown is upon them. This will definitely be because of the massive encroachment which is entering into the buffer zone of the dam. Let's speak to our Ashanti Regional Bureau Chief, William Evans Inkum, who has been assessing the level of impact and has joined us via Zoom. William, good afternoon. Thank you for your time. For those of us who may not be very conversant with how the encroachment is, paint a picture for us.
Well, so let me just move you to this map. This particular map is coming from the Ghana Water Company Limited. So as you can see, Owabi Dam and catchment areas. This orange line defines the very operational enclave of the Owabi Dam, which produces about 2 million gallons of water per day. So here, this is where the demarcation line is. So there shouldn't be any development as far as this particular place is concerned. But as you can see, there's a massive development here. Now, if you come down here, you also see a spillover of development within the operational enclave of the Owabi Dam. And it is even spreading faster to this particular place. So currently, the Owabi Dam, the Ghana Water Company Limited, is operating within this particular area. And if you are to measure it by way of percentage, then they are telling us that about 60% of their operational areas have badly or massively been encroached. So what it means that they are unable to do an expansion because of the massive development that we are seeing as far as this particular area is concerned. Of course, if you come here, we are also seeing some massive development and spillover here and then these areas. And this is the only place that they are operating. So this is where we are getting the 2 million gallons of water from. And we're also talking about an expansion as far as the region is concerned in terms of population and water view. The fear is that, well, they are not looking at a possible crisis because for the halves, they will be able to dig some holes and, of course, mechanize, water flow. As far as individual homes are concerned, I'm talking about those who can't afford. And even with that, we're talking about 30,000 Ghana cedis. That is the lowest you can or you should be able to raise to get water flow in your house. That is if you are not connected to the national supply, as far as Barekese and then Owabi is concerned. But Martin, the big question is, what about the ordinary Ghanaian? Somebody who needs potable water or wants to access potable water but cannot afford to also dig hole, which that person particularly needs about 30 or 20,000 to be able to do that. That person will solely rely on Owabi or Barekese headwork. And this is the situation now. Massive encroachment, affecting production levels, and they are thinking of shutting down if what we are seeing here continues. And of course, it is fast getting even closer to the very, very operational enclave. That is where they actually produce the water. And let me tell you this. This is the Owabe. So this is where they are sourcing water from. To go through the process, chlorine and all of that before it becomes potable for consumption. But here, the situation is quite dire. In the case of Barikessi, it is also very dire because now illegal miners are also taking over. Only last week, I'm sure we can see the videos on our screens. It is very disturbing to management, and they are also raising alarm that if the trend continues, Barikessi will also be under threat. There's going to be a possible shutdown, and it will mean a lot as far as accessibility to potable water in the Ashanti region, especially Greater Kumasi, is concerned. Martin.
Right, Mulemi Evansinkum, thank you very much for that quick update about the Owari and Barikessi dams. Certainly a very worrying concern there in the Ashanti region. Subsequent bulletins will bring us further clarity on what management and government is doing regarding that. Okay, so let's talk education now, because the National Teaching Council claims that over 6,000 teachers who failed the licensure exam are not cut out to be for the profession of teaching. However, the Ghana National Association of Teachers is calling for a national dialogue on the mass failure rather than pointing accusing fingers at the teachers who taught these persons who wrote the exams. My colleague Daniel Opoku has the rest of the story.
Sometimes it's funny. You see candidates who could not write the exam who go and write, please help me, a teacher will write in the script, help me, my telephone number is this, I'll compensate you. So we will need to investigate. Such candidates are invited and we investigate them, so we withhold their results. Recently, the recent one they wrote, somebody wrote a prophet name instead of writing an essay. He just wrote a prophet's name there, thinking that a miracle will occur for him to pass. By November, they have the chance to sit for the last time for this particular kind of exam. If they are not successful, then they have to transition to the new one that is coming. What makes this one challenging to those people is that some of them might have passed one paper or two papers out of the three. Yeah. But the moment you are transitioning to the new system, the new dispensation, it means you have to forgo those two that you passed or the one that you passed. I don't have any power to stop anybody from going anywhere. But the process is that if you are dissatisfied with the results and you want a remark, you pay your remark fee, and then we give you the chance, and then we appoint neutral examiners.
We need to look at the entering qualification, number one. We look at the training institution. We look at NTC itself. We look at the tech and the student themselves. This is the chain. We cannot exempt anyone at this particular point in time because we want to get it right. And because we want to get it right, we need to look at all the things that happened within the process, and that will help us understand the issues.
Graduates from the colleges of education have to pass the licensure exam before they can be recruited into the Ghana Education Service.
So clearly, these are teacher trainees who are hoping that based on that licensure exam, if they do pass, then they can now be certified to be teachers. Let's speak to Dr. Peter Partey-Antey, who is the Executive Director for the Institute of Education Studies, IFES. Doc, good afternoon. Thank you for joining us.
Good afternoon, Martin.
This is not the first time. We are told that some of them have had to resit this licensure exam 4, 5, 6, sometimes 8 times. What exactly is the problem? Is it that they are not getting the right tuition to write the exam and pass, or the exams are extremely difficult?
Well, you have to do item analysis to determine whether the exams are extremely difficult. But for me, looking at the kind of questions that are given to these teacher trainees, these are not questions that should be difficult for them to deal with. They basically write exams on literacy, numeracy, and essential professional skills. And these are basic questions that are supposed to guide the teacher in undertaking their mandate in the classroom. In terms of you teaching, you need a little bit of the English language. In terms of literacy, you will be doing simple mathematics, here and there. And of course, as a professional teacher, there are certain essential skills that you should be able to demonstrate. So I don't think it's about the content or the difficulty of the questions that are being asked. I think it's the attitude towards it that is the problem. I believe that before this time, we had a system where after completing your teacher education institution, you are just posted. I mean, those who attended the colleges of education, you are just posted to a school. There was nothing like writing a licensure exams or whatever it is. So the introduction of this seems a little bit difficult for them, because they think that once they have completed their initial teacher education program, they should be given the opportunity to just go and teach. But that is where most of us feel it shouldn't be the case. So they need to attach some level of seriousness to this. And I think for some of them too, it's just that they cannot bring themselves up to the standard that we want them to show for them to become teachers, because some of these questions are not questions that should be so difficult for somebody who's gone through 3 or 4 years of teacher training. These questions should not be difficult for you to respond to at all. But the caliber of people who start for these exams, we should understand, are people who have failed various exams, various times in their attempt to sit for the licensure exam. So they are just a group of students, candidates that have not been able to pass the exams. And in sieving, you will see that definitely some will be able to get through and others will not. And that's why we've seen the large number of people failing this time around.
Right. Doc, maybe finally and briefly, do we have enough teachers in the system already where if we do not pass this, or these 6,000 and over people do not pass, we are going to be having a deficit or a shortfall, or we are currently okay? It would have just been okay if we had extra teachers passing the exams and then being in the system to help teach, or have extra teachers on hand to go to various schools for teaching.
You see, the truth is that when it comes to teacher demand or supply, it's a matter of deployment. We have a lot of teachers in the system. It's just that the distribution is not equally done. So you see in some schools, there are a lot of teachers, and in other schools, there are a number of teachers that are not meeting the students' level. So if we want to look at teacher distribution, it's a matter of deployment, and we have to do that kind of redistribution to meet that standard. But the fact should be stated that the mere fact that somebody doesn't meet the standard means that the person is not cut out for the teaching profession. And at best, if these people are able to pass, I'm proposing that they are not given an entire class to handle. They should be made to understudy a more competent teacher for at least a year before they are given a class by themselves. Dr.
Peter Partey-Anti, Executive Director, IFEST. Pleasure talking to you. Thank you so much for your time. You're still watching Midday Live. Let's move on from education to some other stories. Now, the Fair Wages and Salaries Commission defies the directive of the Labour Commission to restore the allowances of Ghana Broadcasting Corporation staff. The staff have, for the second time, suffered another deduction from their salaries. Local chairman Samnat Kevo spoke with our Labour correspondent Daniel Opoku when they appeared before the commission today. So maybe for purposes of a backstory, the Labour Commission has said that they had detected some anomalies in the allowances of staff of GBC, a number of them, and that the deduction or suspension of these payments should be done. The workers took the issue to the National Labour Commission. It has developed its own different arms and legs, and today we are told that they are supposed to meet the Labour Commission again. Daniel Opoku is our Labour correspondent who's joined us. Daniel, good afternoon. Thank you for joining us. What's the latest regarding this? We are told there's been a second deduction. Is that it?
Rightly so. There has been a reduction by the Controller Accountant General. They have deducted portions of the allowances from the salaries of GBC staff. If you recall, when the staff of GBC and Fairways appeared before the commission 2 weeks ago, there was a clear-cut direction or clear-cut directive from the MLC for Fairways to ensure or adopt steps to get the allowances resolved. But unfortunately, they have not been able to do so. And secondly, on staff of GBC, they have to suffer another setback by being deducted, or their allowances have been deducted from their salaries that are fixed to currently, and that has been a very big blow to them. And the staff over there are extremely unhappy. That is the part of
All right. Daniel, thank you so much. Certainly in subsequent bulletins, Daniel Opoku will bring us, further updates as regards what would come out of that meeting between the GBC staff and the Fair Wages and Salaries Commission. Still on Midday Live, let's talk energy-related subjects now. The Senior Staff Association, or Union, I should say, of the Tema Oil Refinery TOR has given its blessing to the ongoing negotiation by the board and management of the facility to engage Torrentco Asset Management as a strategic partner despite opposition from some civil society groups. In a statement signed by the union chairman, Bright Adongo, he said that Torrentco is the only viable option available to bring back the refinery into operation, since successive governments are hesitant to inject capital into the operations of the Tema Oil Refinery. And you'd recall that we have been following this particular story keenly. The question really is, if someone wants to bring money to help, what are the concerns being raised? The civil society groups are already saying that they do not have a problem with whoever, the private investor coming in, but they just want the process to be transparent. Let's engage the thoughts of Dr. Yusuf Suleimana, who is himself an energy consultant, and he's joined us via Zoom for a quick chat. Doc, good afternoon. Thank you for joining us.
Yeah, good afternoon to you, Martins, and good afternoon to your charity viewers. Thank you for having me.
Right. From where you sit and from the fact that the union workers are saying that they like the fact that there is an investor coming in, and the concerns being raised by some of these civil society institutions, what exactly is the challenge from where you sit? Good or bad deal for Ghana?
Yeah, so to say either good or bad deal is a difficult thing. I will just say it's 50-50 and it's early days yet. And so a quick comment on what was released by the union guys from TOR. I think that was quite a welcoming one, and I commend them for that. Hitherto, I was expecting such a statement to come from the quarters of government, but Albert, once it is coming from those who are in the front line, they seem to have their blessings on the deal. However, that's not to say that whatever these civil society organizations they brought forward is not something substantial. I think they are coming from the backdrop of the fact that we had deals that came up and they vaporized into thin air. And so if they send a caution like that, and then probably policymakers of the day look into the deal and make sure that we are getting the best, I think it's not out of place. And if you remember, not quite long ago, some years past, we had a deal like PDS, a company coming to be a strategic investor, but at the end of the day, we noticed that they didn't have that much of capital to be able to invest. They were rather coming to live on the system. So that is actually probably the concern of some of these guys. So, but if you also look at where TOR has been through, Martins, if you have something to work on, it's always better than saying that you don't like any deal that is coming. Yes, we want the best of deals, but if you don't have any alternative, if we had credible alternative to what is on the table, then that is that we can look into it and pounce on it. But as it is emerging, the union guys are saying that is the credible one, that is the one they want to quote with, and so we just live with that. Only we have to be cautious and make sure that Ghana is not shortchanged and we get value for money. And most importantly, I think transparency shouldn't elude us in this case. Okay. So both sides, I think they have a point. We need to have a bit of clarity. And once and also the TAM guys, what's their track record? Those guys behind it. All this need to be very clear. And I think if it's very clear, I don't think anybody will have any problem with such a deal. Otherwise, we want TOR to come back. Everybody needs TOR to come back, Martins.
Absolutely. Thank you. Dr. Yusuf Suleimana, certainly will be engaging you further as we all seek clarity on this deal between government of Ghana or Ghana, TOR, and the private investor, TAM, that we are being told about. We're taking a quick breather from here. When we return, we'll let you know what's happening in the world of business as we have the latest with Menu Afo. Stay with us.
Ladies and gentlemen, we're going to demonstrate to you the superior properties of Flamingo paint. As compared to other paint brands on the market, we take equal quantities of Flamingo paint and this ordinary paint. We then dilute them with water. And now, let the test begin. The gentleman on the left is going to apply the ordinary paint, and the gentleman on my right will use the Flamingo superior paint. As you can clearly see, Flamingo has the obvious better hiding. Furthermore, Flamingo has painted a much larger area. You know, 1 bucket of Flamingo paint is equal to several buckets of any other paint brand on the market. Flamingo paint is made with superior formulation to give superior durability, superior hiding, superior coverage. Flamingo paint, simply superior.
Pepsodent is aware that globally, 1 in 2 children suffer from cavities. That's why by giving her Pepsodent, you're not only protecting her teeth, but also helping her grow up and thrive at every stage of her life with a healthy and confident smile, so she can succeed and achieve all of her dreams. Because every smile matters.
Hey! We collect the money. We collect the money. The money don't drop. We collect the money. We collect the money. Jimmy D, Jim Candy, collect the money. Collect the money. Zippe, 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 zippe. Jimmy D, zippe, 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 zippe. Jimmy D, zippe, 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 zippe. You go chop, make a chop. But to my fellow pam de kadari. Follow come guys and the lorry. Follow who no road. Follow who no road. Zippe, we day your back. Follow who no road. Follow who no road. Zippe, we day your back. We day your back. Una bayam, una bayam. Una kusada ku, una kusada. Wangade na muke na muke na muke na.
Send money from ZPay to ZPay and receive 5 CDs cashback. Life moves on and ZPay moves with you.
I have Franco Trading Enterprise at the Dabraka branch. About phones near accessories, and then you make a nadia. What him say? Franco Trading Enterprise, number 1. You have a television set from 24 inches to 65 inches, air conditioned from 1.5 horsepower to 2.5 horsepower. You have CCTV cameras, Bluetooth speakers, you have phone covers, protectors, pen drive, hard drive, iPhone, Samsung, Infinix, Huawei. It's a full beer open we are some fanebia. Pura Franco Trading Enterprise. Franco Trading Enterprise. Phones papa, television papa, air conditions papa, accessories papa nina.
Ura musana eshi anoshi metwe anopa awia imle even kwa machekwa na timi solotwe.
The glue that sticks things together is now tearing lives apart.
No more shame na agu. Itine kutaro. Tioma Mose wanyele say.
A big trouble in a small tube.
You are training over 12 years. Until now, I'm 19 years.
It's a story of how young men are wasting their lives away, addicted to sniffing glue.
The government is not paying attention anywhere because I don't see anywhere in Ghana that the youth are finding jobs to do. So it's a general bad governance issue.
For them, it is a cheaper alternative to hard drugs. Experts are worried about its life-threatening consequences.
I decided to track them down to this particular place.
Godwin Asediba, in High on Glue, visits some communities and reveals the canker robbing the lives of many Ghanaian youth. High on Glue airs on Wednesday, June 21 on TV3 at 9 p.m. and across our social media platforms.
Ghana's Most Beautiful never disappoints, and this year, the search for a new queen has begun. Join the audition train starting the 15th of June in Tamale at the Garba Lodge Hotel.
The train will be in Kumasi on the 17th of June at the Micklin Hotel.
Then the train passes through to Takoradi on the 20th of June at the Rainbow Hotel.
Finally, it stops in Accra on the 23rd of June at the premises of TV3.
Come audition wearing your finest GTP skirt and a white tank top. Download the TV3 reality app or come to any of our audition venues to register.
Ghana's most beautiful, Ghana's beauty, Africa's pride.
GMB was brought to you by Enapa Foods. Say Enapa. Enye Ono Soko. Heaven Black Insecticide Spray and Coil. Heaven Dear Bakope. Carnival Strawberry. Gino Tomato Mix.
Flamingo Paint.
Top Choco.
Welcome back to Midday Live on TV3. Time now for business, and Menu Afol is with us. Hello, Menu.
Hi, Martin.
All right, let's know what's in business now.
Thank you very much. Welcome to the business segment with me, Menu Afol. Now, we'll start off with the senior lecturer of Gimpa Business School, Dr. Ebenezer Bugri Anafo, who has described the president's description of international rating agencies as selective bias. President Akufo-Addo, in his address at the 30th annual general meeting of the Afrexim Bank in Accra, blamed rating agencies for the economic woes of the country. He described their downgrading ratings of Ghana as reckless and unfriendly, pushing the country from liquidity crisis to solvency crisis.
Not really fair to them, because these are international institutions that globally we respect them, and that the work that they do is credible. So if you tend to discredit them because they've downgraded your country, the question now is, if it were the other way around, they have upgraded us, will the president be saying what he was saying? So I think that what his speech is selective bias is because it was a downgrade. But assuming that it was an upgrade, I don't think that was what he was going to say about them. So if Ghana economic conditions will improve and they upgrade us, are you going to say that they are reckless?
Now, in more stories, headline inflation in Ghana is expected to climb over the next 2 months. That's according to industry watcher IC Research Africa. According to the group, their projection is due to some impact of some fiscal measures put in place by the government. Michael Ogbudu has the rest of the story.
The research firm cited the unfavorable pricing effect of 3 new taxes as well as the recent increase in utility tariffs as key factors driving inflation higher. In May 2023, inflation rose to 42.2%, up from 41.2% in April, after declining since the start of the year. This was largely due to an increase in food inflation, but IC Research expects the trend to continue in June 2023. The firm said that the lagged impact of the higher taxes, the recent hike in utility tariffs, and the elevated services and food price pressures could lead to a marginal uptick in headline inflation in June. IC Research also noted that these pressures are expected to persist over the next 2 months as manufacturers and distributors may stagger price adjustments in response to decreasing market conditions. The firm's forecast comes as government is facing increasing pressure to address the rising cost of living. However, it remains to be seen whether these measures will be enough to prevent inflation from climbing further in the coming months.
Let's talk about African trade now, as Governor of Bank of Ghana, Dr. Ernest Addison, has proposed the acquisition of an African-Caribbean airline that will be used to bridge the distance between countries for intra-African trade. Speaking at the just-ended Afrexim Bank annual summit, Dr. Addison said bridging the gap between both regions will contribute to promoting trade with the Caribbean and diaspora in goods and services, investments, and economic opportunities.
The biggest problem that we have with African-Caribbean trade is about the distance. Major infrastructural bottlenecks. Africa Caribbean airline, which would really lead to the kind of integration that we are looking at. So we need to encourage the investments in air and maritime transportation.
Other governors and financial leaders on the continent touched on the need for government in the African continent to develop policies that will enhance buffers and create an enabling environment. Some believe government are directing their capital to wrong projects.
If we look at agriculture and you look at lending in commercial banks and the percentage of banks' balance sheets that go to agriculture, it is probably in single digits in most countries. Yet agriculture employs most people and supports the livelihoods of most people. So there's work that I think we need to do in agriculture.
As an institution, you need to be fit for purpose and be attractive to providers of the capital that you need, whether it's equity or debt. But you also need to develop products that are targeted at the areas that you want to develop.
For these leaders, institutions must also make themselves more attractive and have targeted projects to enable them have easy access to unlock the needed capital.
Away from that, Ghana has become a junkyard for Asian goods. That's according to West Africa Regional Director of CATS International, Apia Kusi Adomako. His comments follows government's delay in passing the Consumer Protection Bill into law.
The delays has caused a lot of unfairness to Ghanaian consumers because, for example, because of the absence of the law, we've realized that our country has become a junkyard for inferior goods coming from Asia. You go and buy a product today from the shop, you take it home, the following month, the thing is not working. Because if we were to have a strong consumer protection regime in the country, businesses who import goods will make sure that they will import goods that are of durable in nature. Because anywhere you go and a supplier or a business manufacturer tells you that this product that I'm selling to you, if you don't like it, bring it to me, return it. It tells you that the manufacturer believes in the quality and the durability of the product that he or she has sold to you.
Now that's how we wrap up the business segment here on Midday Live. My name is Menua Afo. Stay with us for sports segment.
And just like Menu said, time now for sports, and Kevin Oswansa is here. Hello, Kevin.
Hi, Martin.
All right, do take it away.
Well, good afternoon. Let's have sports. And our first story, Asamoah Gyan has announced his retirement from professional football, leaving Ghanaians with a treasure trove of memories from his illustrious career. The former Ghana captain's decision to hang up his boots marked the end of an era and prompt reflection on his remarkable journey as one of the nation's most beloved footballers. As Gyan bids farewell to professional football, Ghanaians reminisce about the joy he brought to the nation with the spectacular goals.
I've officially retired from football.
Oh!
And very, very emotional, as he said. It's a very, very difficult moment. It's something that you love, something that you've
it's our dream.
Done since your childhood, and then living it at this moment. And I'm very happy. I'm very happy to use this platform. And it's official right now.
Well, a very emotional moment from Asamoah Gyan. Now let's have a quick look at some of the reaction from former players as well as loved ones of Asamoah Gyan across the social media handles. Well, from Tony Buffo, PFAG Executive Secretary, and he says, what a career, what a player, what a personality in and off the pitch. You deserve all the respect. Capitano, there is only one Asamoah Gyan. Thank you and thank you. One love. So that is the PFAG Executive Secretary, Anthony Buffo. He captained Ghana at a point, and to another captain, up to the twilight of your career till your retirement, there's one thing I've seen you exhibit. and that is passion. I want you to know that it is only an end to a chapter. You have more to contribute to raising the next generation of legends. That is from Stephen Appiah. And Michael Essien says, enjoy your retirement, bro. Asamoah Gyan, I wish you all the best, baby Jet. And from Cadiz in Spain, following the retirement of Ghanaian player and legend Asamoah Gyan, we have a special treat for our Ghanaian fans. Asamoah Gyan's mythical number on our Cadiz shirt, number 3. So that is it there for Asamoah Gyan, the legend celebrated across the football world. Now moving on to some Division 1 news in Ghana's leagues. And Okoye United have secured qualification to Division 1 league after defeating Pelicans 3-1 in their second division playoffs. The Mountaineers are on a mission to get back to Ghana Premier League, and they've managed this victory to put them on course for a return to the Ghana's elite division. Now to Europe, the transfer window is already open and Manchester City are just filling in their cracks. Mateo Kovacic is close to completing a deal to Manchester City after they agreed a £30 million with Chelsea. Now the Croatian midfielder, 29, is set to join the Premier League champions for an initial fee of £25 million with £5 million in potential add-ons. Chelsea are continuing to sell players as they look to trim their large squad for new manager Mauricio Pochettino. Fellow midfielder N'Golo Kante is also on his way out, having agreed to join Al Ittihad in Saudi Arabia. Kovacic joined Chelsea from Real Madrid in 2019, initially on loan before signing a 5-year permanent contract. Well, that is all for sports this afternoon here on Midday Live. My name is Kelvin Oldswanta. Entertainment news comes next.
All right, so we go straight into the world of entertainment. Ajua, good afternoon. What do you have for us?
Well, quite a number of things coming up in the entertainment bulletin this afternoon on Midday Live. My name is Noella Donko. Now, 2-time Grammy nominee Rocky Dawuni says the inclusion of the Best African Performance category at the Grammys is a step in the right direction. Now, according to the International Reggae Artists, this is a wake-up call for all stakeholders to support Ghanaian music by playing at least 70% of Ghanaian music to solidify our inclusion.
Ready for more? We go to kill them with the wickedest sound. We create music to be able to impact not only within our own country or our own terrain, but we also want to make sure that our music also travels beyond our boundaries, and also it's appreciated by people from all around the world. An award system like the Grammys giving us that recognition, I think, is also an opportunity for us to also see the value of this styles of music that we have created locally that has for a long time defined who we are as Ghanaians, and also been able to influence a lot of musical styles around the world. High life music being recognized in that, for me, is a time for all Ghanaians to rise and rally behind all Ghanaian creatives and Ghanaian musicians, and also input our energies to create a scene here by supporting artists who are of Ghanaian origin here, playing their music on radio, supporting their music in the clubs, and also making sure that our industry works hand in hand with each other to create something that when the world now who have heard about the inclusion of our sound travel to come here, they are met by a scene that is vibrant, that is thriving, that is full-on Ghanaian. And as I said, it's a challenge too for Ghanaians to play and support Ghanaian music. So maybe 70% Ghanaian content on all our media will be a great way for us to launch and appreciate this opportunity that is being, this light that is being shone on our music. Yeah. You ready for more? We go to kill them with the wicked.
Now to some more stories. Ghanaian Afrobeat star Kelvin Boy has said that talking passionately about Afrobeat and explaining himself cost him a lot of trouble. According to the hitmaker, he has moved on and is now minding his business and focusing on putting out good music. In the journey, are there any mistakes that you might have made that you feel, like, looking back at them now, if you could change them, you would?
I live with no regrets though.
Yeah,
so
no regrets.
I don't think I can. There's something I can do to change my past.
Maybe do it better.
Yes, yes, but there's a lot of things that I did. One of the things that I did, stepping in this game, that I realized that no, I have to stop doing this. Was I used to explain myself a lot. When I was explaining this Afrobeat thing and whatever issues, I used to go on radio and to explain.
That's actually very true.
Yes, I was like, bro, sit down. If you sake of them, if you know be the music, you know be nobody. Who they mind? Who be you?
Yeah, but true.
You know be nobody. You know music. They don't know you. So it's the songs. Why don't you? So I had to stay low-key for a while, make the why you say he does that, he did that, did not all calm down, and then it wasn't easy though. But
how do you respond to negativity?
For me, my experience, I feel like negatively I've achieved a lot too, because out of these negative vibes, you get me, because I was there one day, I said, oh, this has happened, why I say, but for some reasons, a lot of people was also showing me love. I'm like, if this has to happen to achieve that, then let's get it.
Right.
Let's go.
Now to our final story. Organizers of Ghana's biggest outdoor music and cultural festival in the UK, Ghana Party in the Park, have been adorned. Now, this year's events, the much anticipated festival, will feature sought-after music talents like R2B's Samini, Medical, VVIP, Mr. Jew, and a host of others. Country Whip and Deputy CEO of the Creative Arts Industry Agency, Frankie Five, has urged all stakeholders to make the most of the opportunity to promote Ghanaian music.
Oh my Hosted by the Aquaba Group, the festival attracts over 8,000 people, making it the biggest Ghanaian event outside Ghana. The 19th edition of the highly anticipated festival will open on Saturday, 15 July at the Trent Park in London with music, food, and a 2-day Ghana Business Expo to showcase the country's rich cultural heritage and more. There will be back-to-back performances by some of Ghana's top talents.
The lineup you see is, the feedback we got from the people, the fans, the audience, so these are the people, lots of them wanted to see, so that's what we decided to go with.
Speaking to 3 Entertainment, Chris Coney, member of the communications team, assured music enthusiasts of a better party in the park this year.
We've gone back, we've done our homework, and we've gone beyond ourselves to ensure this year everything we've promised is going to happen. It's important to ensure we deliver on our promise, and we've always done that. Unfortunately, we had such a situation last year, but like.
Well, that's how we wrap up on the entertainment news segment here on Midday Live. My name is Noella Donko. I'll be handing over to Martin now.
All right, thank you very much, Noella. So let's find out what special documentary we have for you later tonight. So, drug addicts are always looking for alternatives to get a cheap high. The latest, which is gradually spreading silently, is the sniffing of glue, especially among the youth. In TV3's latest documentary by Godwin Asedeba titled High on Glue, which airs later tonight, 9 p.m., he meets face-to-face with addicts who are hooked onto the inhalation of harmless substances. Well, in this case, very harmful substance known as glue, very popular glue that we are all very familiar with. And so we're bringing you bits and pieces and snippets of it as a teaser ahead of what will happen later tonight.
The inhalation of glue, because I went to some of their bases and they said because the cost of the marijuana and chances of getting it is difficult. That is why the glue, you can find it anywhere. So they want to use that one. And I was
All right, so you would want to look forward to that documentary later tonight on TV3 at 9 p.m. So we would want to bring it to an end here. That's it for the bulletin. It came your way from our studio here at Adesanwe in Accra. Our website, 3news.com, where the news was also streaming, has many more stories for you. My name is Martin Esiedu Date. Have a good afternoon. And as always, stay positive. Bye for now.